Welcome to the Movie Draft Podcast. I'm Ethan Simi, and today I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Ben Lawhorn.
Hello.
And our caped crusader of a guest, Aryan Patel.
When the light hits the sky, it's not just a call, it's a warning to them.
I swear to God, that was Batman. That's insane. Today we are collaboratively drafting Batman films. Aryan, welcome back to the pod. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be back. It's been a while, but I'm ready for some chaos.
I am ready for some chaos as well. Last time you were on this pod, we drafted 2019 movies, I believe. And generally, we do a pretty good job here on the pod of keeping track of winners and previous teams. We have a massive Excel spreadsheet with like 1,000 tabs that we keep all of this information. I can't find the 2019 stats anywhere. So that pod is lost to time. I got to be honest with you guys. Those results are lost to time. I don't know what happened. I don't know where they went. Ben, you ready for a little boys pod?
Yeah, I think I'm ready. I miss Sophie already, but
I know.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready for the chaos. It's going to be intense.
I feel like Sophie might have brought too much chaos on this pod.
That's fair.
Right.
That's totally
so
fair.
I feel like a Batman pod can only handle so much chaos. And Sophie kind of outclassed herself in that. We'll have Sophie back in a couple of weeks for our single locations movies draft, which
Ooh, yeah.
I got to be honest with you guys. We don't record that for a couple of weeks as of recording right now. I already pitched an idea to my wife on the drive home from work about what I'm going to try and toss out as a single location movie and inevitably get shattered to a million pieces. But I'm ready for that pod. So let it be known. I'm coming for that one. Okay, we're doing Batman movies here. And we're doing it to celebrate a couple of different things. A couple of weeks ago, it was National Batman Day.
Mm.
Of course, The Penguin has premiered on Max, and that is from the world of the Batman as well, so kind of celebrating that. But first and foremost, we are celebrating Joker Fully Ado, which comes out the weekend prior to when this episode will go live. As of recording right now, they have only had fan screenings. They had a Monday night fan screening. We're recording on a Tuesday. The movie will come out on Friday. I don't want to talk about Joker Fully Ado too much because I know Ben hasn't seen it. Aryan, I know you've seen it. I saw it. Can you just give me like a quick, what did you think of Joker?
Yeah, I mean, I saw Joker too, and
Perfect review. I gotta be honest with you. It's a
You
movie. It's terrible, guys. It's so bad. It's shockingly boring, I think is the best way to like put that review. Ben, do you feel vindicated? You've lasted the last 5 years of having to listen to me say Joker is so good, and now we're here.
Yeah, it sounds like there's 2 bad Joker movies now. That's crazy.
Oh my God.
Can't believe it.
Oh wow,
That's
believe it.
crazy.
Oh, wow.
Who would have thought Todd Phillips couldn't make a sequel? Who would have thought?
Wow.
What is it that you have against Todd Phillips? It's like every time you talk about Joker, you're like, Todd Phillips, not a good director.
He just
It
wants...
looks good. Joker Fully Do looks good. It's just boring.
That's okay. Awesome.
You know who directed that movie? Todd Phillips. He's got an eye.
Was he behind the camera? Was the one good thing about that movie because of him?
Oh yeah, 100%. I'll say Lady Gaga innocent in Joker Fully Ado. Of course, if you're excited for it, I recommend you go see it on IMAX. It was cool, but I don't know, maybe chug 6 shots of espresso before you go because I had 2 and I almost fell asleep. So we're doing Batman films. We have a list of 11 Batman films that we are going to collaboratively rank. I know that as listeners, you're probably itching to hear what that list of 11 is because we just deemed 11 movies eligible for this draft so we could create a little more contest, a little bit more competition about what we think deserves to go in the top spots or the bottom spots, I guess. So we do have our set list, which does leave out some other things like Joker or Batman adjacent films, of course. But I'll start with the big question of the pod. Aryan, I'll throw it to you first. What do Batman movies mean to you? Do you like Batman movies? Do you look forward to new Batman content? Where are you at on the Batman scale?
So as you can see, Batman is like my whole life at this point.
Except they can't see because not a video pod. But nice try.
As my friends on the podcast recording with me can see, I very much like one of these Batman movies, and it's absolutely changed my life. And Batman has always been a really big part of my life. I'd say second to like Spider-Man.
Okay.
And Batman for me has always just been, at least the modern films have just been a way for me to my entry into comic book movies, which is like my all-time
Mm.
favorite genre of films. But upon prepping for this podcast, you know, there's some older Batman movies, and they exist to me.
I
You know, they've been made, and I respect them, and I think that, you know, we'll get into more of my
Mhm.
thoughts later, but I'm glad that I started with the modern films, and I'm glad that I watched those, because if I saw those older ones, I'm not too sure I would have liked this genre too much, but I'll leave my thoughts at that for now.
I am genuinely curious how much age bias is going to play into this list. We are
Yeah.
all different generations. Arian, you're almost 20, so your life's kind of cooked. I'm 30, my life's definitely cooked. Ben, you're older than all of us, but you're just starting out, so you've got hope. So I hope that you can bring this list together.
I got my life alert ready to go in case I feel over.
Got it around the neck.
Yeah.
What do Batman movies mean to you, Ben? Because you grew up with different Batman movies than Arian did.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think the first one I saw in theaters was Batman Forever. But the first one I saw was Batman Returns on VHS. So
Mhm.
I've seen all of these in theaters, other than the first two. But I love Batman. I think, as we'll discuss, like, might have the best villains, like Rogue Gallery. Like, he's got some great enemies. So I'm curious to see how much that plays into like these movies and how much we like them, because I think that makes a huge difference as well. But yeah, I'm sure age is going to play into this a little bit. So yeah, I'm excited to do this draft.
So you think that this list could potentially turn into a villains skewed list?
Yeah, I think it's quite possible, because I think, you know, we're all going to have our own opinions, but
Mm-hmm.
like, how many Batman movies are there where Batman is like the best part of it? I think that's an interesting discussion to have, and we will, as this draft unfolds.
It's a good question. I am excited for your fervent path to Mr. Freeze as the best villain in the Batman franchise.
Chill out.
I can't wait. We all just got to chill out. Yeah, look, I love Batman movies. I didn't really grow up with Batman movies, I would say, but I was definitely the prime time target of The Dark Knight. I was 14 when The Dark Knight came out. That was my first Midnight Madness. I went with all of my friends, and that was back in the day when you had to wait outside, and it was general admission, and you just hope that you get a good seat. And so you show up at 8 o'clock on a school night and throw around a football for 4 hours in the parking lot before you go into the movie theater and watch a movie that changes your life. And so The Dark Knight, I think, is obviously going to be a very crucial conversation that we have here on the Batman collab draft. But I have so many memories of that. And then basically forward from that era is kind of where the Batman fandom begins. So my prep for this pod, going back, watching a lot of the Schumacher films, of course, watching Tim Burton, watching a couple of other movies that we've put on the list that are that were new to me. Ben, did you do any prep? I know you watched a lot going into this.
I rewatched all of these in prep for this draft, other than Batman and Robin.
Wow.
But I had
Too
seen
good.
Batman
You knew
and
it was
Robin.
number one.
Yeah, it's locked in, so I don't need to watch that. I think I had watched that earlier this year for some reason.
I feel like
don't
you
know
did.
why.
Yeah, I remember you logging that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd say within the year I've rewatched them all, but I rewatched 10 of them. A couple actually. Well, yeah, one for the first time.
Oh, okay. Arian, did you do any rewatches, any new watches for this?
Yeah, so I watched every single every Batman movie before just the Keaton movies, and then the Kilmer and Clooney movies. Saw all of them for the very first time within the last basically week. And then I rewatched Mask of the Phantasm in theaters when it just re-released last week or a week or two ago. And then I actually rewatched the Batman in theaters when it re-released just a couple weeks ago as well. So those weren't like planned just because of the pod, but you know, great movies. So had to tap back into them in theaters.
I got to be honest, great podcast scheduling by the guy who makes the podcast schedule. You're very welcome. So Sophie's not here to take the credit, so I will take it this time properly. Yeah, look, I watched a lot of most of the Batman movies I watched going into this pod were first time watches. I did rewatch The Batman. I actually watched it on Batman Day, and I felt really, really cool in my own very special nerdy way that my wife didn't care about at all, which was very meaningful to me. And I did not revisit any Nolan films, which I think is interesting. Mm-hmm. And, you know, of course, The Dark Knight has been in the conversation as the best Batman movie, the best comic book movie, one of the best movies, period, for a really long time. I don't want to jump the shark on that conversation, but I do want to just say out loud, like, let's put a really big pin in that, because I've been doing a lot of mulling over. And I think there's a more conversation to be had there, especially between us here on the show, and what this means for Batman, and ultimately what it means for a tonal shift in who the superhero is on film. Of course, 2008, the same year that Iron Man comes out and sets forth the tone of the MCU and what a superhero can be, should be on screen. So I think there's a lot of interesting things to break down there. Any strategies going into this collab draft? Because, you know, in theory, we're a trifecta that need to bond in this moment, so we can make the best list.
Yeah, I think we should all just be friends. You know, I think we should all be nice, and I think we should all just, the power of friendship never loses.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy to me that you said that, because I was like, I went into this draft and I was like, this is a great time to work together. Like, let's make a really good list. And then you said, let's be friends. And I was like, oh, gross. That sounds terrible. Let's do our own thing, is how I'm approaching this now. So you've ruined this, Aryan. Okay. You have messed me up.
I see how it is. It's okay. I understand.
Ben, the reason I ask about strategy, and I know we're going to get into it with the draft, but you and I have some fundamental differing opinions on Batman.
Yes, we do. I know there's certain things that aren't going to be able to happen that I would like to happen. But I'm just going to do my best to maybe get some of the ones I love a little bit higher.
Can we not just start the bartering? Like, what are you trying to make happen? Do you want to be forthright with that information?
I know exactly what drafter I want to be.
Interesting.
I played this out in my
segue.
head, so I know exactly what drafter I want to be. That's the strategy I have.
I'm pretty confident I know what I need to be as well. So this is tough, because I feel like most times collaborative drafts, we're like, well, I don't really know. I could take it or leave it. Sometimes we have more movies than what there is to choose from, right? Like this time we have 11 specific films, which I feel like puts a certain kind of pressure on the middle of the pack, let's say. Yeah, for sure. On the 8 to 4 range. I think there's a lot of pressure there, especially in a Batman draft. Aryan, do you know what drafter you want to be?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know what that statement means. Like, I'm just here to have fun, for real. Like, I don't like, I'm like, you know, I got a letterbox list, and I'm trying to make this list come to fruition. So I don't really, you know, I'm just here for shits and gigs.
Again, we're just like two strikes in the hole with Aryan. Tough.
Yeah. I have my private letterbox list pulled up, and I'm just doing my best.
Yeah.
I also have my private letterbox list pulled up. So
nice. Look at us.
We'll see what we can bring to the table here regarding Batman films. So let's go over how a collaborative draft works. If it's your first time listening, or if you're returning, we'll quickly run through it so everybody's clear, and then we will spin the fated wheel of names to determine who is going to get to pick what drafting spot they want first.
Yeah.
Which now that you said that you want a specific one, Ben, I kind of, again, like, it's whatever Aryan just unlocked in me. I kind of feel like I'm against you now. Like, I feel like we're in 3 separate camps all of a sudden.
Yeah, we have the standoff. We all have 2 guns pointed at each other. So that's what this is going to be.
It's the Office meme in real time.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we got going.
Oh, jeez. Dang it. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm really nervous. Okay. I'm also hungry, so this doesn't bode well. It doesn't bode well for my time behind the mic. All right. So this is a collaborative draft. So whether the strategy is to go for the win, to get the list that you want to see on the board, or to work together and create a list that we all deem accurate, necessary, representative of the Batman filmography, there is only going to be one team standing at the end of this podcast, a collaborative board of 11 Batman movies As always with collaborative drafts, a special shout out to Screen Drafts, wonderful podcast that has influenced this draft layout and how we work and operate the collab draft. I'm going to have Ben explain the drafting abilities and explain how this works. And then I'm going to read the 11 movies that we have to choose from so as to induce the most panic between reading the whole list and immediately drafting number 11. I think that's the only proper way to go about this. So Ben, why don't you explain how the vetoes and the veto overrides work?
I will. We have a 3-person 11 movie draft here. Everybody is going to have at least one veto, which in this case would only be used to move something up the list. You want it to be higher. There's no leaving stuff off the list today. So everyone will have a veto. One person will have a veto override, and they will be able to, let's say Ethan plays Mask of the Phantasm at 6. Aryan doesn't like it, but I think that's the right spot for it, and I happen to have the veto override. I can use it on Aryan's veto, and that gets rid of his veto and my veto override. Yep. But you can't use it to save your own pick. So that's just important to keep that in mind. So drafter A is going to have picks 1, 4, 7, and 10, and they will have 2 vetoes. Drafter B will have 2, 5, and 9, but they only have 1 veto because essentially if they pick number 2, they're also picking number 1. So that's why they have 1 less veto. Mm-hmm. And then drafter C has 3, 6, 8, and 11. They have a veto and they get the sole veto override.
So let me pose this question before we do the spinner, because I did mention, Ben, that we do have some fundamental disagreements, and I'm really curious where our overlap is going to be and where we fall. I think we're going to learn a lot about each other on this pod, especially you and I, Ben, but Aryan as well, and how we view these movies. So a collaborative draft, I feel like we've always taken the approach of good faith, which of course is good podcasting. Yeah. I feel like, right? Like, don't come into the collab draft and put Prisoner of Azkaban at 11. That's insane. Why would we do that, right?
That's silly.
So here's the deal, though. I don't know if that moral quandary is so far out of range for you to act upon in this draft, Ben. I'm not saying I don't trust you. Yeah, you. I'm just saying it seems the most likely out of any collab draft we've done for you to come in here and try to be dishonest.
That's totally fair. I have taken a screenshot of my letterbox list. We'll have a timestamp so you guys can see I'm playing what my list is exactly. Because I have a feeling that would come up throughout the draft. So I hear you, but I am doing everything in good faith and honesty.
Okay. Well, I don't believe you. I still don't believe you. You can say that all day. All right, Aryan, I got to be honest with you. I do think it's you and I against Ben on this one.
I agree.
I think it's 2 for.
Say that.
Jesus Christ.
No, I agree.
Look, I'm just doing what's best for the list, Ben.
Okay.
I've got to protect what we've got to put out into the public here.
Some of you weren't alive for the height of Jim Carrey in the 90s. He was
and
fucking
I'm glad
awesome.
I wasn't, to be honest.
He was fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, just happy I wasn't there to witness that. And I'm happy I got to retrospectively witness that, because as a Batman fan, I don't think I could have handled that shit. I don't think I could have been like, oh my God, this movie came out. And then I'm like,
it would have blown your mind. You would have gone to McDonald's and or Taco Bell and got the Batman Forever cups. Like,
I have a Batman Forever cup from Taco Bell, Ben. I've got it. It's in my cupboard. I unfortunately left it in the house and I can't go get it, but it's got Batgirl on it and it is sick. Got it at a garage sale for $25.
Sweat the nation.
I can't believe we're back on another pod talking about Taco Bell. Go tune into the latest 24 minutes of 824. We talked about Taco Bell on there as well. Fast food ranking or fast food collab draft when? That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. That's a really interesting segue to a big conversation, Aryan. I want to put a pin in it because I want to start drafting and I want to spin, but that is fascinating to me because I am in Ben's camp on that one. If you grew up with Batman 89 and then went onwards and you did see Jim Carrey occupy that role of the Riddler, that's all you didn't know the Batman. You didn't know the Dark Knight. You didn't know Mask of the Phantasm. You didn't know that existed. I think it just reacts differently. And I think that is something that'll be really prominent here in this draft, how we react to that.
we'll have this conversation later for sure. Yeah, we'll run it back. Yeah.
You guys keep saying later. I don't know how much later we're gonna have these conversations.
In like
someone's
3
gonna
minutes. In
fuck
approximately 3
up.
minutes.
Exactly. Someone's gonna fuck this up and put something at 11 or 10. And okay, we just got to start drafting. So we got to start doing this. Like Ben said, drafter A is gonna have 1, 4, 7, and 10, 2 vetoes. Drafter B, 2, 5, and 9, 1 single veto. And drafter C, they're gonna have picks 3, 6, 8, and 11 with a veto and the sole veto override. Let's spin. Actually, let's list our movies. Let's list our movies and let's spin. Here's the 11 movies we have to choose from here today for the Batman collaborative draft. Batman, 1989, of course. Batman Returns. Batman Forever. Batman and Robin. Batman Begins. The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight Rises. The Lego Batman movie. Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. Now we're going with the extended edition, I believe, because that is what's streaming on Max. Wouldn't know, don't care, didn't rewatch it, if that gives you guys any insight into that. The Batman, and then finally, Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Now we've included Batman Mask of the Phantasm, not only to round this out to 11 movies, but also as kind of our due diligence to fan service. We know lots of people, this is a Letterboxd beloved here in the film community. Ben and I had never seen it. It was on, the 4K disc was on sale on Amazon, $15. I was like, well, this is fate. This is destiny. It needs to happen. So those are our 11 movies. Ben?
Yeah.
The moment of choice, the moment of destiny, bust out the name spinner. Because if I don't get the pick I want, I don't know if I can last this whole pod.
All right, here we go.
You did undercase again on the spinner, and it makes me nervous. It makes me nervous.
Ooh,
no.
Oh, damn.
The only guy who's like, I don't care what spot I got, gets to pick first.
Let's go.
That could be good. That could also be just treacherous for us. Okay. Aryan's going to get to choose first. Just keep going, spinner. Keep going, spinner. Fuck me.
Right.
And then Ben gets to choose.
I just have to hope he doesn't take what I want.
Okay, Aryan, do you want to be drafter A and get spots 1, 4, 7, and 10? Drafter B, get 2, 5, and 9, or drafter C, get 3, 6, 8, and 11?
Wow, so this is interesting because I literally don't know the value of any of these. Like, I've never had experience in a collaborative draft, so I don't know what this means really.
Yeah. Nobody knows what it really means, to be honest with you. It changes every draft. I don't know.
It's a frustrating one, and I know even if I mess up on this pick, I think I could still make it back by what picks I do have and the influence of them. I'm gonna go drafter C, the 3, 6, 8, and 11.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what that means for this game, but it's.
Mm-hmm. I have thoughts on you picking that, but I'll save it until Ben picks his.
C is gone, so I will take A.
Okay.
I want the 2 vetoes.
Did you want A, Ben?
I don't know.
Oh my God. Just say it. It's already been picked. Just say it. Tell me. This is what I'm talking about with dishonesty. You can't open the draft with this.
Yeah, you're making villains now, bro.
Good. I'm glad. This is a villains pod.
Okay, so you guys
are Batman and Robin. I think that's what this is here, and I have to fight you guys.
I would gladly be Clooney with the Batman credit card. Any day of the week. Here's my thought process on that. So, Aryan, I do feel like it's you and I against Ben. We both have a very special admiration for the Batman. I'll leave Ben's opinions to when he wants to present those to the world. That's his own problem to solve. But I feel like you and I should have taken A and B and had 3 vetoes. I think that was our crucial ability to get the Batman far up the board. We do not have that anymore. So I'm nervous. I just want to put that out into the world.
The way I thought about it was, if I have 3, I trust your judgment on 2, which leaves 1. Plus, I have a veto override. So I kind of felt like if we were trying to save it till the top, and then Ben pulls some bullshit on us, then I could use the veto override, and we have 2 and 3 anyway. Like we could close out the top of the list. So it kind of just depends how the middle goes, in my opinion. But that's just the way I thought about it. But again, it was my first collaborative draft, so I don't really know what I'm cooking.
You could be cooking up something good here. I don't know. I really don't know, honestly. Anything's possible.
I can't wait to see how this plays out.
I am so nervous that this is going to go awry very, very, very quickly. Okay. I'm just filling out our board here so that way we can be very clear about who has which picks.
Cool.
I, of course, had the least amount of picks, which I don't know. I feel cheated already, to be honest with you. That seems like you guys are out to get me. But
I mean,
nonetheless,
numerically you do, but you also have like the top 2 picks. You get to pick
Mhm.
1 and 2. So you're
it's true.
looking good.
It's true.
My last pick
okay.
is number 4. You guys get to determine the top 3. So
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly.
Not
you guys
bad.
are fine.
Not bad. All right. Ari, why don't you kick us off? Nominate a film to be in position number 11 here on the Batman Collaborative Draft.
I just
All right,
want to
so-
say I feel like there's a clear cut 11, and if we all have the same one, I'm gonna be.
I wonder if we, but I wonder if we don't. I think that would be interesting.
I think we do. I think it's the only option. Like, I feel like this movie took me like 4 days to finish, by the way. In number 11, I'm going Batman and Robin. This is one of my least favorite comic book movies I've ever seen. I think it's an absolute mess all around. And Clooney is probably the worst comic book casting I think I've ever seen. I don't know if that's a hot take, but just does not fit the character to me.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. This was the clear cut 11 in my eyes as well. I think the only person that showed up for the right movie was Uma Thurman. I like her in this. Like, I think she's good. She's doing the right campiness, but everyone else is just like, it's rough. It's super rough. Even like all the freeze puns are bad. The Batgirl Robin relationship is icky at best. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of weird for sure. So yeah, this is also the one that I didn't rewatch because I turned it on. I was like, I can't do this to myself again. Like, I need to watch these other ones first. So that's a definite reason why I didn't rewatch this. It was too tough. I've seen it more times than I've wanted to in my life.
This is undoubtedly the correct placement for Batman and Robin. I'll say, and I think this is fascinating to me. This is a conversation that I engaged with from wonderful guy that I met at TIFF named Daniel Joya. He writes for The Ringer, covers a lot of Academy Awards stuff. I mentioned the thing about Clooney, and I was like, is he the worst Batman? And you know, I think the Batman franchise, and this is the perfect movie to kick off this kind of conversation. The Batman franchise used to be revolved around who's the big guy in Hollywood right now. Yeah. Who is the movie star? George Clooney was the movie star in 97, right? He makes From Dusk Till Dawn in 96. He goes on and does Batman and Robin in 97. And then he goes on and does Out of Sight 98, Thin Red Line 98, like Three Kings 99. Like, he's cooking in the late 90s. Yeah. And that was Mr. Hollywood at the time. So I think it's interesting. And of course, I was 3 years old when Batman and Robin came out. So like I was not in the heat of it all, to say the least. But it's pretty easy to see that is the direction that they went, especially with the villains. You've got Arnold Schwarzenegger, you've got Uma Thurman, Alicia Silverstone, pretty big at the time as well. And so they kind of went in that direction. This movie's terrible. It's just bad. And I agree with Ben. I think Uma Thurman is like literally the only good thing about this movie. And it is a wonderful moment. Not only when Batman busts out the Batman credit card, which I have as my backdrop on Letterboxd, and it says good through forever is the date listed on there, which incredible. Second best moment of this movie is when Robin goes to kiss Poison Ivy, and then he pulls off this wax mask on his lips, and he's like, "Nice try." Incredible stuff. This is one of the worst
Hollywood
scripts I've ever fucking heard in my life. This movie's terrible.
I mean, it killed the Batman franchise. Like, that was it. There's like, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore. Like, maybe Schumacher shouldn't have this. So yeah, it's awful.
To me, the best thing out of this movie, though, was that, like, after watching it, even though it took me 4 days to get it done, the freeze, I missed the freeze aspect of it. Like, if you had like a good freeze in a Matt Reeves universe, and I could really see them pulling it off. Like, the practicality of this one, I really, really liked it, and I think that I think it's a direction they should go, and I don't think they are, but I think they should.
Batman and Robin comes out in 1997. We don't get another Batman-specific movie until Batman Begins in 2005, in which they hand the franchise to Christopher Nolan, which is a whole other massive conversation that I think we should at least touch on when we get there, whenever the first Nolan film was nominated, of not only what that did to Nolan's career, but what that did to comic book franchises and what that did to auteurs and what that did to people taking studio jobs. Like, I just think that is such a multifaceted choice. Ben, you mentioned that it kind of essentially kills the Batman franchise, and it pretty much does for 7 years.
Yeah.
Batman and Robin, the budget about $150 million. It makes $230 million at the box office. That's astounding. That's astounding. It is absolutely star driven, franchise driven, and to be honest, does not bomb at the box office. Like making that much money. If a movie made that much money today, it would be like in a top 10 grossing of the year. So that's pretty wild to me. But I love this pick from you, Aryan. Batman and Robin at number 11 is correct.
I would love to see an itemized list of where that $150 million went on that budget. Because I mean, I know there's some sets and stuff like that, but damn, dude, $150 million for that's wild.
It went to the dance scene, man. The dance scene.
So. Yeah.
Hard to say no. Okay, Ben, you've got pick number 10. Wow, one movie in, and I'm feeling really good. We did it.
Here we are.
Don't fuck it up.
My list.
Ben's about to fuck it up.
No.
I trust Ben with this. I trust Ben.
My list here is based off of essentially Desert Island. What would I rewatch first? That's kind of how I have it picked out here. So Batman and Robin was last. This next movie to me has a couple good shots and a couple good villains, and that's about it. I gave it 2.5 stars, and it is The Batman.
This is
starring Robert Pattinson.
This is what I'm talking about.
Robert Pattinson.
Okay.
I took a screenshot of my list so you guys can see. This is legit. Guy is serious. This is legit.
Okay. So this is what I was concerned about, and we have now fallen into the Sarlacc pit. Okay. And this is what's happening. So, Aryan, I think we both need to be studious in this in our decisions moving forward. Of course, we're gonna withhold the Batman conversation because it's not going at 10.
You guys are vetoing this?
No shit. I think so. Wow. Yeah.
So Aryan, the way the technicalities work on this draft is since you got to pick your drafting spot first, you have first deferment of a veto. If you choose not to veto, it'll come to Ben. Of course, this is his pick, so then it'll fall to me if I want to veto. So it sounds like you are vetoing this film, Aryan.
So I do want to ask about a technicality. So if I do this veto, Ben can still put it at say 7 or 4, right? Like it doesn't completely take that off his board, right?
Correct. Yeah. It'll just move it further up the board.
You can play it at 8. It doesn't have to go to 7 or 4.
Maybe I play it at 9. I don't know. Maybe it's been a farce for the last 3 years. I've just been like the Batman is gold standard, and now I come on the pod. It's like
it on Letterboxd.
Exactly.
Ratings
this is my truth right now, right here.
I'm gonna go ahead and veto this. Yeah.
Okay. That was also some very studious dictatorship on my part. I didn't want to use a veto, sorry, and I feel
it's okay. No, I totally get it because you also only have one veto, and I have the override as well. So I will take one for the team then.
Okay, Ben, do you want to say anything about the Batman and maybe like why you wanted to put it at number 10, or do we just want to save the whole conversation?
We can save the whole conversation, but it is a genuine ranking. Like I did. When I saw it the first time, I gave it 3 stars. When I rewatched it at home, I gave it 2.5 stars.
Is there like one thing that you can pinpoint that you don't like about it? Because it is, I agree with you. It's a stark tonal departure from what every other Batman movie is.
One thing that I've learned about myself is I love Bruce Wayne. And
I remember
I feel like we don't get Bruce Wayne. When I did my hello, it was to whisper like Bruce Wayne, like he talks throughout the entire movie because apparently he's saving his voice for his gruff Batman voice. So he has to whisper everything throughout the entire movie. There's a lot. We'll get into it, but I don't know. Paul Dano, Colin Farrell, thumbs up. Some shots, thumbs up. That's about it.
Jeffrey Wright, Commissioner Gordon, 2 thumbs up.
Thumbs down. Zoe, Jeffrey Wright. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but Aryan, just I gotta be honest with you. Like, strap in or temper your expectations because Ben will not let up on this. This is full speed Batmobile ahead on this take. I've been living with this for 2 years. Wow. Like I've been having this conversation with Ben ever since the Batman came out, where I was like, "God damn, did you see the Batman?" And he's like, "Yeah, that was terrible." And then our friendship blossomed. So what do you know?
I'd like to ask Ben this. Ben, you started the Penguin series.
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, I'm interested to hear your thoughts when you see that because
he's never going to watch it, Aryan. Don't hold your breath.
Let me be honest with you. As a massive fan of this franchise so far, I'd like you to at least check out the first 2 episodes. And if you're not vibing with it, it's okay, turn it off. But I'd love to hear your thoughts because it does feel like the Batman universe, but it's like an interesting, more like take that we've had in like the older Batman films in terms of like world building and stuff like that. So I think at least try it if you can.
Yeah, I mean, again, like Colin Farrell's one of the things that I like about it. So like I look forward to watching the Penguin series. I just haven't, it's in the queue with everything else. Yeah. So, but I got you for sure.
What happens? What happens to the legitimacy of this pod if we publish a graphic that says the Batman is number 10? Obviously, Ben, in your opinion, it's true.
Yeah, I would finally subscribe to this pod if I saw that. I would subscribe.
You'd be like long-time listener, first-time sub. You'd finally kick you over the edge. Okay, that's fair. Well, you got to pick a new 10. We got to keep the collab draft moving in the right direction here.
All right. Well, at my 9 spot, getting played here at 10, is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Fair.
I think Affleck's like doing a good job. I like Cavill's Superman. Like, I don't know how people feel about him overall, but I like it. But unfortunately, this feels like a poorly used like Amy Adams. I think Jesse Eisenberg is like having fun, and I'm here for it. Like it's a wild Lex Luthor, but I'm like, all right, cool, man. This is crazy. Yeah, Jeremy Irons as Alfred it's Jeremy Irons. He's always good. So I enjoy this movie. I don't remember it. Like we watched the extended edition, like we talked about. I don't remember what was added or anything like that from the original movie. So I can't really speak to whether or not it helped my viewing experience or not, but I enjoyed it this time. And yeah, I don't know. It's number 9 for me, but it's number 10 on this list for now.
I can't. Yeah,
this is one movie I did revisit because I think
I fucking hate this movie.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is,
good. Okay.
There are 3 other movies that, in my opinion, are like just like, I guess the way I'm viewing it is like purely like Batman, Bruce Wayne, like study, whatever it may be, right? All of this, this world of Gotham and stuff like that. And I'm like, I think there's 3 other movies on this list that are like, as much as I hate Zack Snyder and I don't think he understands Batman at all whatsoever, at least like this world, this dynamic that he builds is better than a couple of other of the Batman films that I've seen. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you're hating on BVS, you're hating on BVS, and I got to stand by you. So it's fine. Like, I'm not gonna be super pissed, but yeah, I'm surprised. It also makes sense though, because you're a fan of the other ones. So, it's kind of bounces out here.
This is one of one movie that I did not rewatch. Like I mentioned, I've seen it. I gave it 2 stars. I couldn't tell you like a single thing that happens in this movie. And I think that is kind of unfortunately exactly why we're putting it so low on the list. I do like the poster that I've chosen on Letterboxd that says False God, really big on Ben Affleck's Batman with no helmet on or no like mask, which I don't really understand this movie. I got to be honest with you guys. So
you're not vetoing it.
I'm not going to veto it. Batman versus Superman. Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice comes out in 2016, and basically, like you mentioned, Aryan, sets off this new world because we get Dark Knight Rises in 2012. That's the final film from Nolan. We get Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice in 2016. Kicks off the God, what's a really nice way to put this? Just like the abhorrent, vicious, incessant cycle of Zack Snyder and his cronies living online and only living online. We get Suicide Squad, we get Justice League, we get Zack Snyder's Justice League, and kicks off that whole era of things. This movie makes $874 million at the box office. Damn. It's almost $1 billion. One bit almost. And it's like, I get it. Scores by Hans Zimmer. It kind of brings a new era to Batman, brings a different Batman to the screen. Ben Affleck, big movie star. Henry Cavill, combined superheroes. Like this is a big deal movie. I think it's a pretty poor film for sure. And I didn't rewatch it for that purpose. So, yeah.
I remember how amped everybody was. Like, I think it was the leaked Comic-Con footage where like, and then the logo popped up and everyone just freaked the fuck out. And yeah.
I was 11 when the leaked Comic-Con thing came out, and I thought it was fake. Like I thought it was I did not know this shit was real. I didn't know they could even do this. Like I didn't know that. I mean, because at that point, I think it was I think it was Civil War and stuff like that was coming out for Marvel
Mm.
around that time. So that to me was already like, holy shit, how are they even able to put this together? And then you have Batman v Superman. 12-year-old me should be like the most hyped for this thing ever. You know what I mean? This
Yeah.
is like peak, like, oh my goodness. And then I walked into the theater. My mom told me I fell asleep like halfway through. I don't even
Oh,
remember
wow.
the first time I saw this movie. That's crazy because this is supposed to be my iteration of Batman, the peak of when I'm supposed to be in love with these like action-packed blockbusters. This movie just doesn't really do anything.
Mm. Yeah, that's tough, tough break for the Batman franchise. No way around that. Okay. We've put Batman versus Superman. If you guys were going to put Batman up against another superhero, any superhero, but your movie had to fall in line with this, Batman v whoever, who are you putting on there to make almost $1 billion at the box office? Can't be Superman. You got to pick someone new.
I mean, can we have an MCU crossover? I think that would bring in the money.
Do you legitimately think that will ever happen in our lifetime?
No, not. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Disney will get big enough. They could just buy Warner Brothers for sure. I can see that happening. Yeah.
Yeah, that won't be antitrust or anything. Don't worry about it.
No, not at all. Yeah.
It'll definitely go through Congress.
It'll happen. I don't know if they're too worried about DC versus the MCU in Congress, but
I guarantee you, everybody sitting on Congress is like, yeah, we need that crossover. Send it through. Send it through. Fuck monopolies.
We need X-Men against the Justice League. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Batman versus I gotta be honest with you guys. I don't know enough DC characters, so I'm with you.
Another one because I think it's the world's finest dynamic, and then pitting them against each other. I think that is like the only way this. It's like there's other big names, like you have like Batman versus the Flash or something like that. Could be cool on a like conceptual level, but nothing beats the title Batman v Superman. That is just that screams $1 billion to me.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. All right. Number nine. Okay, here is where I think I'm gonna make the right call, but can we talk about this? Because this is earnest. This is totally honest with you guys. There is a movie on this list that I did not watch. I have not seen. I've seen clips of. I've seen the trailer for, but I come in without having seen the entire film, which I know is like a little sacrilegious considering it's also our podcast. So I feel bad about it. But I want to make sure that I'm doing right by you guys. Can I throw out a title and before I like cement it in the sand?
I think, and this is guest Aryan P speaking. Okay, if Ethan hasn't seen the full movie, I think he has to have both mine and Ben's approval to actually put it in this spot. And it shouldn't count as a veto because he hasn't seen the fucking movie. So you can't you know what I mean? Like you can't judge the movie.
No, see, this
to other films.
This is no good because if we instate a rule like this, then we could get nasty. We could get nasty in future episodes. We could just be like, well, I didn't see it, so it doesn't really count. Like I don't know. Let's just play a little bit.
That is true.
It's a collaborative draft. Ben, it's scaring me that you're being silent.
I fall into like, if you haven't seen it, how do you know where to place it? So like you shouldn't be able to play it.
Okay, on the flip side of that, we only have 9 more movies to go. Of those 9 movies, I've seen 8 of them, and I know how I feel about those. Based on what I have seen of this movie, I feel like it's less. I feel like personally, I wouldn't put it any higher than this.
I think you could throw out a title and we wouldn't be mad. But I don't know if I think it depends on how strongly we feel about it, because it's like if you haven't seen the full thing and you're comparing the judgment of two people that have seen it,
Okay. So I'm going to do it. And I'm going to give a really good reason why I think this movie belongs here. So in the 9, and I feel like Aryan's not going to like this. In the 9 spot, I'm going to be nominating the Lego Batman.
Oh, hell no.
and this is because, and here's my reasoning. And this is why I'm legitimately nominating this film. Although I haven't seen it, the next like comp that I feel like belongs in this list, and this is personal, I wonder, Ben, how much you feel about this as well. It holds too much weight in the Superhero Hall of Fame, in the Performance Hall of Fame, in the Actor Hall of Fame, and what it does for 35 years of comic book filmmaking. And even though it's not the best movie compared to a lot of others, it's too important to put in a 9 spot, especially one of these movies is animated. So
Only two of them are.
yeah, but one of them's good. Like I don't know what to tell you.
Ethan hates.
Well, here's the fact: is
Ethan hates animated movies. Let's just get that out of the way first of all.
I love The Boy and the Heron. Sick movie.
Ethan hates it all.
I like good animated movies.
Nope.
So have you started this, or have you just watched clips on YouTube?
So I've only watched part of it with my family. I probably saw the first 30 minutes. And I was going to watch it today at work, and I was going to dip and do like a secret meeting and actually watch Lego Batman. Unfortunately, my real job that pays me real money made me actually work today.
Damn.
So, tough day to work for the man. It impacts the draft. Government's got their hands over everything these days.
Ben, what are your thoughts on this film, though? I think that's where we kind of see if this is even fair, because I think we're both fans of it, that it's not.
What are you gonna do? Put it in the top 5? Like, let's be serious.
I mean, to be serious, I might have it in my. Let's just think about it for a second.
It's a Lego film, guys.
But that doesn't mean it's.
I know,
not
but
like
we're talking against.
Versions. It's one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best studies of Batman. Like the dual-sidedness of Batman and Bruce Wayne. Even the kids' animated movie, as corny as and as stupid as all the musical numbers are, and this bullshit Joker that we might have in the film, I think that the Bruce Wayne and the whole familial element of it all. This is, in my opinion, the best Robin that we've had in such a long time.
This isn't a Robin draft, Aryan. This is a Batman draft.
But I'm saying Batman is reliant on the story of the elements in Gotham. That is what Batman is and always has been. And so I think that it does matter. It like that's why Batman and Robin, partially why it sucks, because it does Robin so poorly, in my opinion. And another Batman movie as well. So it's like, I don't know. I also don't have a veto, so I don't know if I'm speaking.
I'll give my thoughts at the 5th spot. I'm vetoing this.
Wow. Guy, this is why I wanted to work together, guys.
I think
you guys are like, hell no.
I'm so glad we didn't work together, by the way. I did not know you had this shit up your sleeve, dude. Oh my God.
Guy.
Talk about the Rogues Gallery. I mean, this movie shows us literally all of them, I think. Like it's crazy. And does it well. But yeah, we'll talk about it in 4 picks.
Oh boy.
I love that so much.
Dude, you realize, Aryan, he just nominated the Batman 6 minutes ago. So we got let's equalize here what we're doing. God, hold Ben down. Don't give him hope. All right. Man. Okay. Let's see. I gotta go to the log on this one. Gotta go to the log. Let's see. What are we dealing with here? One movie, pretty good. The other movie's okay. All right. Fine. I'll succumb to you guys' peer pressure. You guys are so rude. I'll be nominating. Let me make sure I say the right one, because they all start with Batman, and I'm worried I'm going to get the second word wrong. I'm going to be putting Batman Forever, the 1995 Joel Schumacher film. I think it's okay. I don't think it's bad. I think it's okay. I think it's pretty fun. This is one of the movies I watched for the very first time. I mean, Nicole Kidman, you talk about stardom. You talk about a star trajectory. Ridiculously underutilized in this film, in my opinion.
Dr. Chase Meridian.
I mean, all-timer film name. That's Megalopolis levels of WoW Platinum, to be honest. Drew Barrymore just showing up for like 30 seconds. This is a fun. It's a fun movie. Is it good? Probably not, but it's fun.
It is a very fun movie. I know Aryan wasn't around when it came out, but those of us that were in the right age group, again, 90s Jim Carrey was just like peak anything in the box office. And I love this performance. Also good to see some like funny Tommy Lee Jones. He's having fun here. The Robin stuff, again, kind of whatever, but this is a fun, campy movie. I have a good time with this one. It's my number 6, but yeah, I'm gonna hold off on my last veto. So it'll be here at 9.
Yeah, this was my number 10. But I will say, I think Val Kilmer as Bruce Wayne is probably the best Bruce Wayne we've ever had. I don't know if that's a hot take, but he is absolutely amazing. And I think this is probably the live action movie that I think focuses on Bruce just enough, like the perfect balance, at least giving us more Bruce, I guess. And the whole Robin thing, I don't think it's great, but I think it aids Bruce's story really well. So I
Yeah.
think there's great elements here. The first half of this movie, I would consider to be almost like, I'd say it's like an 8 out of 10 halfway through. And then I was kind of like, what are we doing here?
Just
And
off the rails.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I didn't really mess with the pink hair. I didn't really think Jim Carrey could pull that off. That's just me though. Didn't like the sparkly suit. Wasn't for me either.
It's
God,
amazing how
such a
much
hater. Jeez.
they were trying to go against Batman Returns. That's why I got rid of Burton, because it was so dark and whatever. And Schumacher's like, all right, well, I'll turn up, the saturation on these movies. And he definitely did that. That's for sure.
So Tommy Lee Jones in this movie, who I think is just having a grand old time. You talk about people, especially now, you talk about people like, oh, they were acting in a different movie, or like, oh, I don't really think they understood the assignment. I think everybody in this movie understood exactly what they were doing. I think it was just like communicated poorly. So I got to give credit to like Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones for both doing incredibly polar opposite things and not having any dynamic chemistry whatsoever when they interact, but also doing the right thing to be in this movie. Tommy Lee Jones, I love the prosthetics. I love the makeup. I love the pink hair. What I find's just maybe one of the weirdest career decisions. He wins an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in 1993 for The Fugitive, an all-time 5-star masterpiece film. He goes on to make The Client in 1994, big deal. He makes Natural Born Killers in 94 as well. And then he goes on and does Batman Forever in 95. Men in Black, 97, he's back. But what a weird moment. And that was the right play at that time. Yeah. And the movie just didn't pan. And so it's impressive that he found his way back. You get Men in Black in 97, U.S. Marshals 98, Small Soldiers, like a shout out, Small Soldiers, doing some voice work. Wild stuff from our guy, Tommy Lee Jones. I just wanted a reason to talk about The Fugitive, to be honest with you guys. That was my long way around.
I don't care.
I don't care.
Made $336 million on $100 million budget. It's pretty solid.
That's really good. I think we should do a Fugitive scenes draft. That's what we should do.
Sign me up.
I am the calendar master of this pod, after all.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've done the bottom three, and we've had some disagreements so far. So I wonder where we go from here.
Me too.
All right, and you're up with the 8.
Okay, so
we're 50 minutes into this pod and we've only done 3 bits.
I know we might be cooked.
We literally, before we recorded, we were like, all right, we got a hard out in 2 hours. I think we'll come well under. And I'm getting nervous that we're going to have to wrap early.
Okay, so I'm going to take in the number 8 spot. I'm going to take a movie that I know will probably there's just no shot it stays here, I don't think. But I'm going to take Batman 89. I really don't think, like, I just don't like it. Like, it's not for me. It's every single corny, campy aspect. And it completely, in my opinion, takes away from like depth and characterization of Batman and Bruce Wayne. Yeah, but the posters on Letterboxd are really hard. And it's some of the best Batman posters, in my opinion.
That's great. I've got no issues. This is the other movie I was alluding to against the Lego Batman movie. I think this movie is incredibly average, but it features a remarkably important Jack Nicholson performance. Of course, we do get Michael Keaton as the Batman, revitalizes the franchise after nearly 20 years, makes $400 million plus at the box office in 1989. It's a big deal for the history of Batman and the history of performances, but I think the movie's just fine. So I don't have any problems with it here, but Ben sounds like he's got issues.
I was worried about this Ben guy over here.
This sits in my 7 spot. It's really not that far off, so I'm not gonna like use a veto on it. Okay. I love Keaton. I think he's great. I think this is a good movie. I think especially for the time, it was groundbreaking. Like, we had Superman, but that was kind of it as far as superhero movies. This was, kind of the first one, at least, that took it on such a like dark level. When I rewatched it, it's crazy to think about now because we've had so many iterations of Joker. But to go back to the time pre-Dark Knight, when Heath Ledger got cast and everyone's like, no, that's Jack Nicholson's role. Like, he's Joker. Like, he's the Joker for sure. And when you rewatch this, I think you can kind of see why it was so important for so long. There's arguments now about who the better Joker is now, all that kind of stuff. I get it. But Jack, I think, kind of owns this movie. But I think Michael Keaton does a good job. I like his Bruce Wayne. The Batman, it's interesting because he was like a comedic performer at this point. So like having him as Batman was really kind of weird, but I think he does a good job. But yeah, this is at my 7 spot, so it's not worth a veto for sure.
Kim Basinger in this movie. That's some good casting. Some really good casting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm good. Batman 89 in the 8 spot. Okay. Brings us back to Ben. Are we up to our same shenanigans, Ben?
Oh,
Shall we just
do you want to just cross off your veto?
I mean, you've got to present the goods for me to veto them.
At number 7, I'll be playing my number 10 movie, The Batman.
Dude,
Okay.
Ethan, maybe I should have taken the veto X2. You might be right. I should have. I think that would have been the play for sure.
Well, this is the problem, right? We work them to 4, and we're toast.
I think
we're cooked. So I mean, unless there's a different strategy that I'm not seeing here, we're both out of vetoes.
No, I'm cooked.
Yeah.
This is why I wanted A.
Yeah. Well, you fucked this up, Aryan. It's good to have you on the pod.
Ben, let's make a deal. Ben, let's
make a deal.
Ben, I'll give you my veto override and my 6 for one more veto.
Oh, that's not too bad, but I don't know. I feel good about the Batman getting veto to 7. That's fine.
I told you, Aryan. I knew it. We had to have A and B, man. You had
Ethan,
to have 3 vetoes to get up the board.
Why didn't you text me? You should have told me.
Because this is a good faith game. It would
have been funny if you put it in the group chat and just told him, like, take A and B. There's nothing he can do about it.
On the spot. Fuck. Okay. The Batman gets vetoed at number 7. Ben, what's your replacement pick?
To me, we're in good movie territory now, the Batman notwithstanding. But what I'm going to go with here is the other.
This is like worse than my Babylon hive mind. It's terrible, Ben.
Yeah, this is bad.
How do you have energy for this? How are you not just worn down every day?
Like, it's how I feel watching the movie. I feel fucking worn down. It's like, Jesus Christ, we get it. It's dark. Okay. Move on. Fucking looking at a maze and saying it's a maze. God. Like, oh, no shit, detective. Yeah. Is that right? It's a maze.
But he does a cool
dude,
voice style.
But you love Pattinson. You love Robert Pattinson.
Not in a cowl. Yes. Yeah. You're right.
Wow. Okay. Just save the conversation.
What?
You gotta save it.
We'll save
the conversation.
For now, we're going to talk about the other animated movie, Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
Okay.
A good movie. Yeah, I'm sorry, Aryan. I feel like I've offended you once again.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I mean,
and so fall the cards of a collaborative draft.
It's the animated, I love that series so much. Kevin Conroy is a great Batman. I think he does a wonderful job. And Hamill's Joker is, he deserves to be in the discussion of the best Joker performances. He's so good in it. I love this movie. I love the animation style. I love all that stuff. But again, this is for me, Desert Island movies. If you have them all out for me, what am I taking? And I would take every other Batman movie except for one before this one. So Mask of the Phantasm is here.
This is my number 3. This was my number 3. It's to me, it is, I just bumped it up from a 9.5 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 on my theater watch.
Wow.
It is genuinely the best Bruce Wayne story Bruce Wayne I think I've ever seen in my entire life ever. This is counting the comics that I've read, the animated series that I've seen, the live action movies, animated movies, everything. And then on top of that, Phantasm, so much aura. It's insane. I don't know how they did it, but it's perfect all around. And I don't know if I can come back to this podcast after this one. I don't know if it's, I might have to just, I don't know. This one really hurt me. I've lost a lot on this podcast.
Hey, you realize we're only halfway through this draft. You got a lot more to lose.
No. I know. So that's the thing is I only know it gets worse from here, Ethan.
Right.
So you keep bringing me back to just tear me down. This feels personal at this point.
I've given you regular drafts, I've given you super drafts, and now I've given you a collab draft, and apparently nothing's good enough.
Can't seem to win.
Can't seem to win. Yeah, so like I mentioned at the top of the pod, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, first time that Ben and I have watched it. Bought the 4K, support physical media for sure. I like this movie. I think it's good. I think it's actually very good. I do think it is a remarkably complex Bruce Wayne, especially that we get in like whatever it is, 86 minutes, 82 minutes. It's a very short amount of time. I liked it a lot. Thought it was a fun time. Very different from any other Batman movie on this list. I just like, and I know George commented on my letterbox as well. Aryan, you're a big supporter of this film too. Maybe I saw it too late. Maybe I just I didn't grow up with the animated series. Like I'm missing a connection point to really understand how we're getting to this is a perfect Batman movie and it's among the best. I think it's very good. But 6 is totally applicable. I have it in my 5 spot on my list.
I mean, I think I saw it for the first time 2-3 years ago. I didn't see it post right after watching the animated series or anything like that. But I think since I saw it after watching the Batman, and the Batman I absolutely love. But the biggest hole in that movie is the depth of Bruce Wayne. And then going directly into this, I was like, holy shit, this is the most Bruce Wayne I've ever gotten in my entire life.
Is this not just an extended Spider-Man conversation, right? I know we've only had 3 actors play Spider-Man, so it's a very easy, concise conversation of who's the best Peter? Who's the best Spider-Man? But I feel like this is what every Batman movie comes back to is who's the best Bruce Wayne? Who's the best Batman? What's the best Gotham? Those are the things, and they all work in different facets and they connect differently in different movies. And it's just whatever you vibe with the most. And so I think it's really interesting. Mask of the Phantasm, really works for you guys. I think the villain, the Phantasm as a villain is ridiculously underutilized in this movie. You say really? Aura is so good and all this kind of stuff. We get 3 scenes with Phantasm.
Well, I think that's literally it. I think that's the point though, is the fact that since it is that the whole story is so based around Bruce and this girl, and the fact that Phantasm doesn't get that much screen time, that's not the point of it. The point is that this girl is in his life, and that's what this story is told through. Mm-hmm. So, in my opinion, I'm not necessarily saying when Phantasm is off the screen, the quote unquote villain's off the screen. I'm not saying the girl herself is villainous. Obviously, she does some villainous things, but that villainous aura, that idea is still carried through in these simple scenes where he's looking at her through the rainy night window in Gotham through some binoculars. You know what I mean? It's just
that's pretty sick.
It's these simple moments, in my opinion, that really elevate this film and make it comparable to the live action movies that are 2 hours 45 minutes long,
Yeah, fair. Too bad it's number 7 on the list.
Yeah, too bad.
Well, Aryan, you can't escape defeat because now you've got to pick number 6, and right. I just legitimately there's one right answer here, and it's startling to me.
There is one right answer, but there's also blood that I could shed, and I think that it is my time to truly just wreak some havoc.
No. We agreed. This is a good faith pod. You can't just come in here and ruin the show.
Okay. Here's the thing though. Before I even give my pick, these movies are. Man, I don't want to be an asshole though. Okay, I'll just take Batman Returns. Be the good guy here.
Dude, fuck off. That's insane. That's so wrong. Are you kidding me? In the number 6? Why would you put that at 6? Batman Returns? Rethink, Aryan. I'm going to give you a very clear shot to play the right movie here.
Are you so serious?
I'm deadly serious. Right, this is my pod. I make the rules. This is collaborative drafting, and if you don't do what I say, then we're cutting the pod short, and the listeners will never know what our top 5 is.
Wait.
I swear to God.
I told you the other one's in my top 5.
Aryan, Batman Returns is
top 3 for me.
It's a top 3 movie. It's number 2. What are we doing here? This is insane. This whole list, this is insane. So the whole thing is scrapped.
Are you guys actually are you so serious? Are you guys not fucking with me now?
Why would I carry a bit with this much passion, Aryan?
Okay, the other movie that you tried to put number 10 or something like that or whatever
definitely belongs here.
That movie is in my top 5, by the way. It's my number 4.
Okay, but we're at number 6. Just put it at number 6 because the Batman's gonna get played at number 4, so you're screwed either way. Do justice to the list. Right? Vengeance is not what this pod needs. It needs hope.
Dude.
I mean, Ben, You and I are on the team here. How are we tackling this? Has Aryan cemented this at number 6, or are we still up in the air?
Well,
I don't know.
I can keep, if you want me to keep it up in the air and just run this clock, I can. But like, it's in my top 5 for a reason. Like it is.
What's in your top 5?
The Lego Batman movie.
Oh, okay. Then
right, but you're saying it's in your top 5. We're at number 6. It's literally the same thing.
It's my number 4.
Just put it at number 6.
My number 4, and I think there's a big difference.
2 spots.
I don't know though. I don't know because I feel like with where Mask of the Fantastic went, I feel like I need to do justice to some of this animated movie.
Well,
okay, so Ethan, not all of us hate animation like you do, man.
Yeah, well, it's a cross I bear.
Batman
Returns. Batman. Okay, I don't want to set a precedent on this pod for going back on things. So. Aryan, you have played Batman Returns at number 6.
I will take back. I will.
I think, in the essence of good faith, you said it. We disagree, but that's part of the collaborative draft. This is possibly the most wrong pick of the draft yet. And Ben tried to play the Batman at number 10.
Really?
Ben,
you really think so?
Because I can't. I don't know if I've ever been this riled up on a pod before. I got to be honest with you. I've done hundreds of pods, and I'm a little bit at a loss.
I'm a little worried about what you are going to play, but I'm excited to find out because I'm vetoing this pick.
Oh, I forgot you had a veto, Ben.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was so mad. The whole time you're trying
to pitch him, I was like, just wait. I'll just veto it. It's fine.
I was thinking Ben was going to veto me anyway because you were both pissed about it, but Ethan was just fuming.
I was so caught up in the injustice committed here.
Okay.
So we're saving this conversation.
Yeah, we'll save it.
Wait, so okay, we will save it. I am genuinely confused. Like I am so
what a wild turn of events. Ben, you should have just stopped me, brother. You should have helped me.
Once the train's going, there's no stopping it, dude.
Once the train has left the station.
Yeah, it's kind of it.
Okay, I mean, look.
I'm curious what he's gonna play at 6, but yeah. At least I know. Yeah.
Okay, so
you know what? When Ethan first got very, very red in the face, I thought I picked a movie that had already been picked. I thought I made like a
Jesus Christ
critical error or something like that. Like I thought I fucked up the podcast.
I mean, it was a critical error. Yes.
Definitely critical error. System overload is what happened.
I'm gonna take one. I still don't think you guys are gonna be happy about this pick because I'm still a Lego Batman movie lover at heart. I'm gonna take The Dark Knight Rises.
That's fine.
I think this movie is good, but I think it's obviously I can admit like post The Dark Knight, it's an inherent comparison. You know what I mean? Like it's not that ice is never going to leave my mind. And I actually got to rewatch this one in theaters, I think 3-4 months ago at this point, and it's still a really good movie, but it's way too not Batman compared to the other 2 Batman films. And it just, in my opinion, other than like the core story points kind of invisible stringing along this trilogy, doesn't really feel like it's part of the trilogy in my opinion, other than like the final couple scenes.
That's interesting because for me, like this doesn't necessarily work as a standalone movie, but it works as a cap to the trilogy. Where it's like if you watch them all together, it's like, okay, I get it. Like this is another situation, where it's just there's a different story in mind. I don't think, obviously Heath Ledger's death is a huge aspect of this because I think that was the whole point of this third movie, was bringing Joker back at least a little bit. So just to get rid of that completely and then just, I don't know, it's a tough hand to be dealt, but I like Tom Hardy's Bane. I think it's good. When I heard Anne Hathaway's going to be Catwoman, I thought I had a stroke or just passed out. I was like, no way. That's amazing. So yeah, but I'm with you. Like to me, it's the weakest of the trilogy and it really only serves a purpose as like to wrap up the trilogy. I don't know that I would ever just like throw it on by itself. So I'm not bummed about it being here at 6. I think I have it at 5 on my list or something like that. Yeah, I have it on 5, so I'm good with it at 6.
I've got it at 6 on my list. I think it's a perfectly okay film. I think there's a lot of when you talk about like Nolan's screenwriting habits and Nolan's narrative habits, I think they're very deadly in this film. I think they're very prevalent. How he writes certain characters, certain female characters perchance, and he writes himself out of narrative tension, specifically like let's just trap Gotham PD under rocks, and then we don't have to worry about them anymore. I think that's exceptionally lazy. But like you mentioned, Ben, Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. I just, can't say enough good things.
Yeah.
I think that's what I dream about when I go to sleep at night. It's really interesting because this kind of kicks off Anne Hathaway's relationship that she gets with Christopher Nolan. She obviously works in Interstellar in 2014. And then in 2012, she does The Dark Knight Rises and Les Mis, which is another huge movie, completely tonally in a juxtaposed direction. So I think that's interesting career choices from her. Dark Knight Rises makes $1.085 billion at the box office.
Insane.
Big movie. Big movie. Bane. I like Bane. I think he's cool. I think Tom Hardy is a good Bane, but I think this movie is definitely the weakest of the trilogy for sure. Yeah. So Dark Knight Rises number 6 is fair. It's good. It's good. Okay. Well, we've got the Dark Knight Rises off the board. I'm up for 5. So
everything's locked in now. No more vetoes.
Yep.
Aryan's veto override just goes away.
I tried to warn you, Aryan. Veto override is very fickle. You could have overridden Batman Forever, but you didn't. And we live to fight another day here on this podcast.
Oh my God. I totally forgot about that. And I know you didn't remind me because you knew.
Why would I remind you?
Another time. And one day in the future.
That's a cardinal sin that you committed here on this show. I'm not gonna absolve you on the spot. That's crazy.
I'll be back. Don't worry. I'll be back.
Oh, well, I don't know. I make the schedule. I determine who's on the show. So
he's never invited me back, by the way.
We shall see. Well, I will be picking. I mean, it's tough. In my personal list, it's pretty clear what comes next and what like the top 3 are going to be. Ben, I know obviously we've got to deal with our number 4 spot here. So that puts things in a little bit of a pickle for me, knowing the Batman's going to be at number 4 or not. I don't know. Ben could choose to Christmas could come early. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
I respect you, Aryan, and I heard you that the Lego Batman is number 4, but it's going to number 5. It made it to the top 5. It's like way higher than it should have been, coming from a guy who's never seen the movie. I just like we gotta start talking about real movies here. And I'm sure the Lego Batman is funny, but it's just not for me. So we're gonna put the Lego Batman at number 5. But maybe I should watch it. I don't know. Do you think I should watch it?
No. Actually, don't do it to yourself because
it doesn't deserve
to enjoy it.
Yeah.
You don't deserve it.
Enjoy this amazing film.
Yeah.
Right. Because we all know one of Batman's core themes is about people that deserve things. Considering Gotham is just a shithole.
It's about deserving family. That's what this movie's about and how he finds it. So
it's about fear of family. Isn't that what the Lego Batman movie is about? That's what it says in the trailer.
That's all we saw.
I don't know. Michael Cera's Robin is hilarious. Zach Galifianakis' Joker is great. The fact they have Ralph Fiennes in this movie not playing Voldemort is hilarious. I really like that quite a bit. But yeah, this movie, I love this movie. I think it's great. I have it. What do I have? I have my 4 spot. So it's fine. It's here. It's good.
Yeah, it's top 4 for me as well. It's low-key a little bit of an IP overload at times, but I think that's just what makes it fun. It's a cool core Batman story, core Bruce Wayne story, but it also does all the kiddie shit that you expect from a Lego movie.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. I literally nothing don't care to move on with our conversation. I got nothing.
Well, right, let's lock it in, fellas.
I got to step out for a second. I don't even want to be here for this.
I'm actually going to watch the Lego Batman movie so I can come back next week and report back to you guys. Let me know. Actually, Aryan, you won't be here because you're never coming back on the pod. But I'll let you know, Ben, what I thought of that movie.
Perfect. I'll text you, Aryan. I'll let you know.
Thanks.
Yeah. There's part of me that wants to make like a deal, but I can't.
What's the
trust
deal?
You guys.
Ben. I'll
just put it out in the world. Put it out in the world. What do you got?
I wouldn't be upset if it was at number 3. Like if Aryan played it at 3.
Okay. What I will do.
Okay, so then what would our top 4 look like? We're determining the top 4 here.
Well, I'm not doing all 4. I'm just saying like throw you guys a bone, let you have this in the top 3.
Okay.
But I can't trust that he wouldn't play it. And then if you don't play it, then it's just at number 1 because we have vetoes left. And I can't trust I can't trust fans of the Batman, so I'm playing it
maybe,
before.
maybe
No,
let's do this.
Don't put it in yet. Don't lock it in. You didn't even give us a
Yeah.
rebuttal. You didn't give us a chance to say what we think of the
All right,
deal.
let's hear it.
Go ahead, Aryan.
Would you do
I
it?
want to know because I've got my selling point.
Honestly, I would be happy with it being top 3, especially after how you guys have absolutely tortured me with the Mask of the Phantasm pick. You know, that is one that I'm just truly so upset about that at this point I'm like, let me get something that is in my all-time list in the top 3. And I think when you split it up into the top 3, you're kind of like, okay, we can like this is like a good middle ground for me. This is okay, we're all a little bit happy. Batman Forever, obviously, or not Batman Forever, the other one that you guys
Batman
for
Returns.
some reason like Batman Returns. Yeah. That one is going to be obviously higher on the list now as well. So, you know, I think it's a win-win-win, you know?
Yeah.
As Michael Scott would say. So here's my thought process on this, Ben. You put out this deal in good faith. And you know what? I think it would solidify not only to ourselves, but to the listeners that we take the ideals of a collaborative draft seriously. And we say, you know what? Even though we can have our differences in the bottom 5, we can get back together and we can get the group back together. And we can play the hits. And we can give them a top 4 that they would love to see. That's just my thought. I'm happy right now to dish out the top 4 because if we go this route, if we say the Batman is at 3, I think it's very clear what 1 and 2 would be based on your 4.
For sure.
So if we can all agree, I'm okay with that.
I wouldn't be happy with the top 2, but I would take the top 2. Just putting it out there. Like, it's fine with me, but I'm not condoning this in any way, shape, or form. And I don't want this to be my public image, you know?
Okay, you don't want to be tied to bribery. Got it. I don't mind. I'm corrupt anyway, so what's it to me? The wheels are turning. I mean, it makes me excited, also nervous that you're taking this long to consider.
I'm
our
too
elevator
scared.
pitches.
I'm too scared, I think.
What would we do to you?
Dude,
what would I do?
Not play it, and then make me play it at 1.
No,
You guys
No,
would just have
I
to
couldn't-
not talk about it.
No way. I would never do that to our fan base. I'd never do that to our listeners.
You know what? Ethan is always such a bully to me. You know this, Ben. Every time I'm on this podcast, Ethan is just so
How
mean.
does every episode turn against me?
I'm just a boy. You know, at the end of the day, I'm just a kid. And I think me and you're the oldest and I'm the youngest. You know, we need to make some sort of alliance against Ethan. And I think this is the perfect way to do it.
Wow. Okay, yeah, cool. Ethan gets canned because he's 30? Because he's in the middle of the bunch? What do you want?
No,
Can't change my age.
I'm just trying to make Ben feel more safe in this deal.
I appreciate it, but I've got to play it at 4. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
There was never any offer, was there? It was never real.
I wanted the A spot like for weeks. You know what I mean? Like, I just knew it was like, well, if I get that, then I can at least have it locked in at 4. It won't be in the top 3. I did genuinely have a thought. I was like, well, maybe I'll play Batman Begins at 4, but I just like.
That's what I would have put there.
I wouldn't be mad at you guys, but I wouldn't put it past you to just not play it, to make me play it at 1. And I would just shoot myself in the foot. And I'd be so mad after weeks of just like planning this to have it at 4. Just be like, oh, fuck. I literally just played myself. So yeah, I don't know how much more you want me to talk about it. Like, he's a shitty detective. I don't like Pattinson really in either form of Bruce Wayne or Batman. Andy Serkis, I think, is like the worst Alfred we've ever had. I like Colin Farrell. I like Paul Dano. I always like John Turturro. I don't know that we even needed the Catwoman storyline though. I don't love Zoe Kravitz in this. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, for some reason, it didn't hit me. I wanted to love it. As Ethan knows, I bought like the Robert Pattinson shirt before it came out because I was like, fuck yeah, new Batman. Let's do this. Let's make it happen. And then I just saw the movie and I just like kind of shrugged my shoulders like, oh, yeah. Okay.
And you know who has that shirt now? I've got it because you gave it to me.
I did. So I did not need it anymore. So yeah, I know I'm on the outs on this. I know people love it, and some people it's in their top 10 of all time, and I get that. But for me, it's not a great Batman. So yeah, okay. 4 is the compromise.
I just want to make it known that I spent $35 at my local Little Caesars to get this hat on my head. from
Hell
a
yeah.
worker. And
Oh, you bought from a worker? Hell yeah.
yes, because they weren't selling them. And so
Nice.
I went to my local Little Caesars and was like, hey, I'm going to spend $35 on this movie that I haven't even seen yet. I actually ended up spending like $200 on merch before the movie even came out. So I kind of had no choice but to love this movie, but no, I'm kidding. But I really did. I truly love this movie. I think it is slowly crept up. It is my number one favorite comic book movie of all time. It has surpassed the other movie left on this list that I really love. And I can't believe this is real. Like, I can't believe that I'm seeing this and I see it at number 4. I cannot believe this is a real image in my head, but
that we got it this high, or what do you mean?
No, that it is this low. That it is this is insane. Like,
got it.
It's top 2 and it's not 2.
I do have the Batman at my number 1. I stand by this. I do think the Batman is like the best Batman movie we have. And of course, we haven't broached the subject of the Dark Knight yet. And I think those are 2 classifying and defining eras of what we want out of a Batman. And I think they're 2 very distinct kind of differences in what we want out of a Batman, out of a Batman movie, out of a Bruce Wayne. So I really love this movie. I rewatched it. And you know what I actually did? I actually popped in the 4K physical disc from my Steelbook that I have, that Ben so graciously provided to me, because apparently he didn't want it himself. I bet we could talk about the Batman for like quite a while, especially Aryan and I, and like trying to defend this film. I think it's totally fair, Ben. Everything you don't like about the movie, totally get it. Everything about this tone works for me. Everything about this Gotham works for me. Everything about the score that Michael Giacchino made works for me. I think it is just really, really exciting stuff. I think it's a very dark, pulpy, gritty take on everything. I love Robert Pattinson in this role. I think he's amazing when he's eating a handful of berries in the broad daylight in his foyer. And I think that is fantastic. You get Greg Fraser to be the cinematographer of this film. Hopefully he's coming back for number 2. I think there's a lot of puzzle pieces they got right here for the Batman. And I really like it. I have a great time. I wish I went into this draft with the idea that the Batman would be number 1. I know it was a little farcical of me, but I dreamed, and fortunately we couldn't achieve that dream today.
And I apologize. I'll take
it is actually your fault, so I will blame you for that.
And next time I will memorize the draft rules in my sleep and think more about this. And if and when I ever return, to sometime in the near future, I will make sure that I do not let Ben pull this bullshit again on me, because it's makes $772 million at the box office, runtime of 176 minutes. Interesting. Dude,
feel it all.
We got to move on. This conversation has to end. I can't. I text Ben about the Batman enough as it is, and I feel bad that I inundate him with my opinions. I can't do it on this pod. I knew this day was coming, and I knew we had this on this calendar for a very long time. And I guess there was,
I rewatched it for this.
There was hope in my heart.
Yeah.
For Dirty Gotham.
I wanted to fuck with you and text
Gotham.
you masterpiece just to get your hopes up, but I couldn't do it. Even that was too far.
Do you know what you texted me instead? You texted me a screenshot of the Batman saying, "No more running from it. It's the last one left." ... Yep,
that's it.
Real positive vibes you're giving out there. Peter Sarsgaard in this movie, all-timer church scene. Okay, all right, we got to move on. Let's determine the top 3 in this collaborative draft. Aryan,
all right,
you got number 3. I got number 2. Ben, you've got number 1. There's a way it should go, in my opinion.
Same.
I can't believe I'm picking this movie at number 3. Like, it is absurd to me that it's made it this high up list. For context, it is in my bottom 3 Batman movies, just to inform everyone. Before you've
been potting for 80 minutes and you haven't mentioned how you don't want this on the board.
I fucking hate this movie. Like, I'm so serious. I do not like this movie. And it's, to me, it is, okay, I'll just say, Batman Returns is number 3, but it is.
God, what the fuck is wrong with you? This is wrong. This is not the spot.
You know what, Ethan? When you said this is not the spot?
No. This is crazy. Like, this is literally worse than putting the Batman at number 4, in my opinion. This is crazy. I mean, just continue. It is what it is. The cards have been dealt.
No more vetoes. Yeah, we're done with this anyway.
I
So
can't
I'm
believe this.
so happy that you guys are pissed about this because it makes me much better about picking it at number 3. This movie, in my opinion, I respect that they're trying to expand this Gotham and they throw in a bunch of comic book shit. And Keaton is better in this movie than he is in Batman 89, in my opinion. But this movie is far too unserious. It is so overstuffed. Dan, this Penguin is atrocious. I hate this Catwoman. And I just,
what is happening on this podcast?
This is so Batman-less of a movie for being a Batman titled Batman Returns. Where the fuck is Batman for so much of this runtime? Like maybe I was delusional and I just like was missing where Batman was at. But I was just like, you're focusing on everything but what I am here for. There is so little interesting Bruce Wayne. I will say, the Gotham, the expansion, it works. It works for what it's trying to do and giving us more characters and stuff like that. But it's like, even the other movie that you guys wanted me to put here, even though it might be a little bit of an uninteresting Gotham or an uninteresting Bruce Wayne or Batman to you, I feel like even on the baseline, that story, that character, the direction at least feels like there's some intention with it here. Everything just feels so lackluster to me. I don't know how there's fans of this movie, and I'm talking to 2 of them, so I'm just interested to hear what you guys have to say.
I think you might be the first person in history to talk about Batman Returns and use the word lackluster.
I agree.
If there's anything about
Startling.
this movie is not lackluster. That is crazy.
I tuned out when you were talking, Aryan. I got to be honest with you.
Oh, wow.
I blacked out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let Ben take the first crack. This is the first time I watched Batman Returns going into this pod, and so I've got thoughts.
This is like the Catwoman. Like This is like the best one. Danny DeVito as Penguin is perfect. He's fantastic. I mean, being a Tim Burton collaborator, like having them together works well. I love what Burton's doing with the underground world. We start out with fucking Pee Wee Herman throwing his baby off a bridge. You know
incredible.
What I mean? It's like, it's
talk
amazing.
About world building,
It's so good.
I think it is really funny, really quick, Aryan, that we go to bat for the Batman and then you play Batman Returns and the first thing you said was like, this movie is deeply unserious. After we just talked about quite literally the most serious Batman entry to ever exist. I think that juxtaposition is hilarious in my opinion.
Yeah, it is very interesting.
You know what I like? You know my taste.
How do you watch Batman Returns and be like, not very good?
So
I don't get, like, I'm stumped.
So what I did was I sat on my couch, pressed the power button on the Roku TV, put it on max.
Oh, there's your problem. It was a Roku TV.
And the whip scene is amazing. Like I hear what you're saying as far as Batman, because I don't think we see Michael Keaton until like over half an hour into this movie.
Yeah.
Like we don't see him for a while, but that's because my point before we started drafting was like, some of these movies are about the villains and they're more interesting than Batman. And this is, for me, one of the 2 peak ones that happens on. And I think it's great. I think there are 2 great villains. I don't love Christopher Walken in this. Like that is weird to me. I don't love, is it Max Schreck or whatever his name is? Like, it's not the highlight of this film by any means, but I feel like Michelle Pfeiffer and Danny DeVito make up for anything that is quote unquote lackluster. I think they're bringing heat. They're batting 1,000 in this movie. I don't know. I love Batman Returns. I love, Tim. This is the perfect Tim Burton world. Like he has a very specific taste and style and stuff. And I think this is like the perfect execution of that. I love this movie.
So let me give you 2 specific quotes from this movie that I love the most to cap off this conversation that we're having far too early in this draft, in my opinion. I love this movie. I watched it for the first time and I was like, wow, 5 stars. I'm that close. Like I might do it. And I gave it 4.5 and I can guarantee you on a rewatch I might go for the 5. Here's two reasons. Catwoman walks into her house. Honey, I'm home. Oh, I forgot. I'm not married.
Mm-hmm.
That it's just like, that's the bar that's what you're operating at the entire film is remarkable stuff. Second is the Penguin. We get this entire side narrative of him becoming mayor and how grimy and dirty and gross he is and how he just wants to sleep with women. and he finds Catwoman on the bed and he says, "Just the pussy I've been looking for." Come on, like what more do you want out of a movie that takes a Batman franchise and hypersexualizes it and focuses on the Penguin and Catwoman and a Gotham that is built by Tim Burton? Like that's exactly what you want out of a 90s Batman movie.
And it's a Christmas movie.
And it's a Christmas movie.
Win-win.
Remarkable stuff.
It's right,
remarkable
Aaron.
stuff.
You'll come around.
This is crazy. I wish you Godspeed on this journey, Aryan.
I wish I got it. I wish
you got it too, man. Must be tough.
I'm never going into a movie like I don't like this, but maybe this is just my Mask of the Phantasm. You just don't get it. Like I don't get it like you guys get it. You didn't get it like I got it. It's just well for you like a Batman movie, Ethan. But I'm happy. I'm happy I got it. At least because I did not know that you guys expected it to be higher.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken in the very final scene, he goes, "And Bruce Wayne, why are you dressed up like Batman?" Catwoman says, "Because he is Batman, you moron." That's so good. We worked the entire film to get there. Oh, God. Incredible stuff. I think Batman Returns should be higher on this list, higher than number 3. Okay. We've got number 2 and number 1, which essentially is just me determining between Batman Begins and The Dark Knight what belongs in the number 1 spot.
They try to drag out the runtime of the podcast, by the way.
What's going on? How did Batman Begins get this high? That's my honest question.
Because Ben took the Batman off the board for starters. Let's play.
Ben was afraid.
I mean, it's obvious. So look, Batman Begins is going at number 2. Mm-hmm. It's a little, I guess, shocking to me. Like I'm legitimately shell shocked that we're living in this world with this list. I think this has been our most volatile collaborative draft yet. And I think it sets a new precedent for how things can go monstrously wrong on a collaborative draft. Batman Begins is like, it's good, but like number 2 out of all of these movies is a little psychotic. Of course you get Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul. I love the Ra's al Ghul storyline. I think there's a lot of cool stuff here. It is probably the Batman movie with like the most clear depiction of like, this isn't Gotham, it's just Chicago. And that's unfortunate. It's just like totally good. And that's it. Like, it's not great. It's not excellent. It's in no world is it better than the Batman or Batman Returns. But you've given me 2 options and I'm not going to put the Dark Knight at 2 because our list is screwed enough. So here we are. Batman Begins.
You get Oppenheimer as the Scarecrow. I mean,
yeah.
Pretty good in this.
Yeah, Oppie comes up big. Oppie comes up big.
He's great. I love the training montage. Again, like I love Bruce stuff, and this movie provides that for sure. With it being the origin story, so I really enjoy that about it. Learning the backstory. I mean, even just starting out the line with the guards taking him away, saying it's for protection. He's like, "I'm not afraid. It's not protection for you. It's protection for them." I love learning that kind of stuff about the character. We learn so much about him just in that simple line. So I don't know. I think this movie is great. Like the finale or whatever with the train is like kind of a bummer. Like it's not fantastic by any means. But I do, again, like I'm just, I don't know. I'm a sucker for some good Bruce Wayne, and this has it. So I think it's also living in the time where the last Batman movie I saw was Batman and Robin. And then coming into this, like it was just like the shell shock in the best way. It's like, oh shit, you can tell this kind of Batman movie. That's awesome. I can't wait to see what happens. So yeah, I don't know that I want it at like 2, but it's, yeah, I think the other Batman Returns should be here, but that's okay. Here we are.
This is to me the most like 7 out of 10 movie ever. It's just, to me, it's like,
cool. Glad we all worked together to get this to number fucking 2.
Yeah, I'm glad. Actually, I think I can pinpoint exactly where the fuck it went wrong, because I'm looking at this list and oh my goodness, like
it's when you pick drafter C.
It's literally when you pick drafter C before we even drafted any of this. That's where it went wrong.
No, actually, I know where it went wrong. It's because we took Mask of the Phantasm at number 7. Like, to me, that was like, what are we doing here? And that just like kind of steamrolled into me being a little bit pissed off about this whole, what Batman Returns is so good. What are we cooking, guys?
Don't put that in air quotes. Don't put that. That's real. That's real. That's truth. Okay.
That's a Batman Begins. I used to really like Ra's al Ghul, but I'm not the biggest fan of this depiction, like, over time, and just not a fan of the way this is aged. I really, really, really don't like the final act, like the the big piece that they're going for.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't seen this movie in a minute, but I never actually want to rewatch it. Like I'm always
Yeah.
game to rewatch most of the modern Batman movies, but even Rises, but like Begins to me always feels so long. And I think it's because it's covering so much ground of this Bruce Wayne origin story. But yeah, I don't know how this ended up at number 2. I mean, I do, but I'm not happy with why it ended up at number 2.
Could have been number 3. That's all I'm saying.
I'm glad it was number 2, by the way. I'm glad it was higher than Batman Returns. That's one thing I will say. You know, I can go to sleep happy tonight because of that.
Wild. It's wild.
This is astounding.
This
is just astounding stuff. All right, Ben, you've got the number 1 pick. You got one movie to pick from.
I mean, I don't know what there is to say about this movie. It's the fucking Dark Knight, you know, like we've talked about it before. It changed the fucking Oscars, you know, like it was an important movie. It's a fantastic movie. This is like, for me, one of my comfort movies where I just like throw on while I'm doing shit around the house or whatever. Like it's just an easy listen / watch. You start with that Zimmer score and the bank heist. Like we really just like immediately get to meet the Joker and learn what he's like all about and how smart he is and cunning. And I think that's fantastic. Obviously Heath Ledger just owns this movie. And in my opinion, he owns the role of the Joker. He's still the best one that we've had, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything intelligent to say about this movie that people haven't already said. Like it's the Dark Knight. This is one where I love the use of Chicago as Gotham. Like I think they did a good job depicting Gotham here. And yeah, this is a fantastic movie.
Ethan, I'll let you give some of your takes before I have more than, now that I've sat with it, I have a couple of negatives about it. So I'd like for you to be positive first.
I think I think we've all lived with The Dark Knight for so long. Obviously, this movie comes out in 2008, turned 16 just a couple of months ago. Like The Dark Knight changed. I feel like changed the culture is like so corny to say, but Ben, it's true, right? Like you mentioned, it changed the Academy Awards, right? Like it literally changed their profile of how they determine how many movies are in categories. So I think there's a lot there to talk about. The couple of things that I quickly wanted to mention about The Dark Knight is that I think it's fascinating that from the start, Nolan is able to implement his obsession with time into this film. We're working on timers, we're working on clocks, we're looking at clocks, we're looking at hand watches as the heist is happening, and I think that's really Christopher Nolan of him, and I love that he does that. And number 2 is I do think it's a great movie. Do I think it's like the best Batman movie? No. Do I think it's like one of the best comic book movies? I don't think so. Like I genuinely think Heath Ledger is pulling a lot of weight in this movie as the Joker, and that's fine. And I think like the narrative outside of that, it loses a little bit of steam if you don't have Heath Ledger's Joker at the center of this. Obviously, like I know I said I grew up with this movie. Like I have brothers. We only quote The Dark Knight to each other for every day for like all of our lives that we lived together after we'd seen The Dark Knight. Like, you want to see a magic trick? My dogs are hungry. Like it's countless. It's endless. And so I think there's a lot about The Dark Knight that does prove it to be in the upper echelon. I think, and the hot take is like the longer I sit with it, the more that I think it's like just a pretty good movie with an excellent, legendary villainous performance. And I think they're two separate things.
I'm actually really surprised that Ethan thinks that, because I don't know, like I just thought that everyone was automatically like, holy shit, it's Heath Ledger, it's this Nolan Batman, like it's all-time number 1. And for me, so I've seen this movie from what I've counted, I've seen this movie 13 times over the course of my entire lifetime. It was probably the first like big, like brutal movie that I saw. And then I actually just saw The Batman for the 13th time. And it's been like 2 years since it's been out. Another big monumental one that I like to compare to The Dark Knight is Spider-Man 2, which was my first ever comic book movie I ever saw. And to me, The Dark Knight over time, and obviously I've sat with it for way longer than I have the Batman, but I do find these smaller flaws and these little ideas that I'm like, okay, this just doesn't really work as a real Batman story. Like Ethan said, it relies so much on Joker and Heath Ledger's performance. But then I kind of have that excuse in the back of my mind where I'm like, okay, but it's because I've been sitting with it for so long. It's just because I can nitpick it. But then I go back to Spider-Man 2, which is arguably my favorite movie of all time. And I'm kind of like, I haven't been able to make these same nitpicks. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's a thing about age for me at this point. I just think that now that the Batman is out, and again, this is looking on a retrospective, like I couldn't imagine living during the time of the Dark Knight. Like I was like, what, like 4 years old when this shit came out? Like I wish I could have been there opening night theaters. Like that seems like an absurd, surreal experience. But to me, everything that Batman does so well is literally every single flaw that I have with the Dark Knight. And seeing everything work on a 10 times better level in the Batman for me, it's not to put the Dark Knight down by any means. I still think it's like a 9.5 out of 10 movie, but all of those flaws just become more and more apparent. So I'm not mad at the number one spot. I think this is, looking at the list, I'm happy with where this is at. But
I mean, I think it's unanimous. I think it had to be number one. I think
this
was.
I think this was the only one that we would have all been okay with at number one. I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the quote that I put on my latest Letterboxd review, why is he is like one of the final quotes of the film, right? Why is he running, Daddy? Because we have to chase him, and that is good. Like that is good shit. There's so much good shit in this movie, and there's so much nostalgia that it definitely overcompensates. Again, like the villainous performance, I feel like overcompensates for a lot. The Nolan trilogy is such an interesting little nugget of not only superhero filmmaking, but like blockbuster filmmaking and IP filmmaking, what it did for Hollywood. There's like a million things to dissect there. The Dark Knight number one.
I think the ending is arguably my favorite ending of all time in any movie ever. I think so. I think it's because every time I hear that score just start to blast, I just feel shit I haven't felt since I was like 12 years old. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's just it relies a lot on what I used to think of the film, but I think that's just the power of a film, you know?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I know we've talked a lot about Ledger, but I do think Aaron Eckhart's Two-Face in this as Harvey Dent is really good as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
What happened to Aaron Eckhart, man? I feel like he got market corrected by a few actors and then it just saw himself out.
Yeah, I think that's probably true, but I'm glad we have this performance from him. I think he's solid in this.
Yeah. I think it's one of the most underrated performances in like the whole scope of comic book movies. Because you think about like a lot of times with a secondary villain, especially one that gets introduced so late into the runtime of the film, in my opinion, like the true version of their villain, it just doesn't work at all whatsoever. But here it's just perfect. And I think it's because he's like A1 in the role.
Yeah.
Makes over $1 billion at the box office. Pretty impressive stuff. All right, let's go through our list. If I can make it through and breathe at the same time, to be honest with you. Okay, let me mentally power up. Number 11, Batman and Robin. Pretty unanimous, I would argue.
Yeah.
Number 10, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, the extended edition. Number 9, Batman Forever. Number 8, Batman 1989. Number 7, Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Number 6, The Dark Knight Rises. Number 5, the Lego Batman movie. Number 4, The Batman. Worked its way up from 10 to 4. That's something to be proud of for sure.
Good job, guys.
No, it's incredibly rude. Number 3, Batman Returns. Wrong spot. Number 2, Batman Begins. Wrong spot. And number 1, The Dark Knight. Ben, how are you feeling about the list as a whole?
Pretty happy with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this looks overall pretty good.
I gotta be honest. I think the list appears outside of 11 and 1. It's a list of concessions. I gotta be honest with you. I think there's just like a lot of scrambled movies here, and I don't really know if it fits a particular arc.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the exercise we've completed here today was successful or not. To be honest,
I'm curious to hear what people think about it.
Unsure.
Yeah.
Aryan, any final thoughts on the Batman collaborative draft?
You know, when I was looking at it when we were picking the top 4, I was pretty frustrated. But now that you've read it out, I'm not that mad about it. You know, I think for 3 people who, like we said at the top of the pod, have pretty different taste in like Batman movies, and we're all different generations of this very long lasting character. I think we picked the right unanimous ones, and we had a couple duds here and there, That's what's life without its duds, right? There's ups and there's downs, and some life-changing movies for me are at number 7, but it's okay because I got my get back with number 3. So I think we all end happy enough.
Like I said, the most volatile collaborative draft we've done yet, for sure. Ben, would you have put The Dark Knight at number 1 and Batman Returns at number 2? Is that what you were alluding to earlier?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That is 100% correct. Yeah, for sure. Tough beat. I think the exercise that we've completed here today proves one thing. Batman means different things to different people, and actually it proves 2 things. Sorry, that was number 1, and number 2 is that Batman Returns is the second best Batman movie ever. And we just didn't represent it here today. We just didn't represent it here today. A big thank you, Aryan, for joining us. I do greatly appreciate it. If people want to find more of you, where can they find you at?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Aryan P, where I love talking about the Batman.
Yeah. Can you make a YouTube short explaining why Batman Returns is so good?
Yeah, I can. I'll actually write that down. I will do that, and I'll send you guys the link. Yeah, I'll do that.
Please do. Yeah, that'd be great. And as always, big thank you to Ben for co-hosting with me.
I wanted to do the Bruce Wayne whisper the whole pod, but I just couldn't do it, so I apologize.
You should have. We should put that on the Draft After Dark.
Yeah,
we should redo this and only talk like Batman.
Yeah, I like that. We can each pick a Batman to do.
That sounds good. Be sure to listen and subscribe to the Movie Draft Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes will be released weekly on Tuesdays. We'll see you then.